Hey, what's going on, boxing fans, the likes? Joshua here. This is another edition of Boxing Chit with none other than the man Boz himself. How's it going there, Boz?
It's going pretty well, thank you. It's been a really epic night, one might say.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
so I'm quite in good mood, good spirits.
good to go. And I see you're repping there for Inter Milan. Let's go.
Yeah,
Good stuff there.
yeah, I like them, and I also like their jerseys also.
Oh yeah, classic right there. Then with Pirelli,
Yeah,
yes, I like that right there. Remember those? But that's good stuff indeed. But yeah, we had a pretty big weekend in boxing, major weekend, a blockbuster
yeah,
card. So salute to the whole team that got that done. You know, Riyadh season, Eddie Hearn, Frank
mm,
Warren, but it was none other than Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. That's
mm,
what was going down right there, and I believe it's the IBF title that was on the line, right?
yeah,
So Dubois came in with the IBF title. Of course, we know some of the backstory with both of these guys. They were similar in size, though Joshua was a little bit taller. And as a matter of fact, when they were standing face to face, I don't know if Dubois is 6'5" as they list him, because it looked as
yeah.
though Joshua had
Some
an inch or two on him, a couple of inches
Yeah,
on
I
him.
saw some listings of him 6'4.5" or something. So maybe
Okay,
he's close to 6'5", but it can also be the angle, which where they were,
true.
standing
That
and filming.
that does factor in. That does factor in as
Yeah,
well. But yeah,
yes.
IBF World Title fight. This went down at Wembley Stadium. They had 96,000 plus people there, which is insane.
Oh yeah,
Ninety six
96.
thousand, and it was a
All
sight to see.
singing, singing "Sweet Caroline." That was
Sweet
quite
Caroline.
a
Yeah, that's one of
thing.
my favorite little fight traditions that they have over in the UK. We should adopt that
Yeah,
here because it is pretty cool. But that goes to show you
yeah,
that when you put on the right types of fights, people show up. But especially over in England, in those areas,
yeah,
you have fans show up in droves. But 96,000, that's got to be one of the biggest for a boxing match in a long period of time,
yeah.
probably going back to the 90s or 80s or something like that,
Yeah.
you
It's
know?
like
And,
the Olympic kind of size crowd.
right,
Olympic Games, yeah.
right. And it was a sight to see. And you can tell with the production value and all that stuff, they really put a lot into it. So I do like the fact that we
Yeah.
moved there. But that being said, yeah, it was just a blockbuster style or type of night, and it made a
Mm,
difference as far as just what we were able to see visually. But Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, we know how it
mm.
ended, folks. Fifth round stoppage. But hey,
Just
it's like that sometimes, right
merciless,
there. But
merciless
anyway,
destruction.
exciting
Yeah.
fight. What were your thoughts on it, there, Boz?
It was just, a merciless destruction. I mean, from first round was, competitive up before, the end, as you know, Dubois just caught him there with a big left hook, I believe it was. But I couldn't believe how easily Dubois landed those shots. The big punches. But still, he was also in control before that knockdown. Joshua kind of landed, a punch here and there, but it was, Dubois who shook him from like very first punches he threw, were kind of hurtful or looked hurtful, and then Joshua kept going, doing that. As Usyk later said, I watched his interview. That's not good. That's gonna get you knocked out. He just kept going like that, and then getting caught with the hooks, and especially left hook, and then
Oh yeah,
at the end, just as it looked like he might turn it all around, bam, wham, bam, thank you, Joshua. He was
yeah,
laid out. Yeah. What a performance by Dubois. I mean, he was on fire, and you might wonder whether it's that the fact that he is so good, or if Joshua is really that, shot or past it, or maybe both. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. But Dubois was really, I mean, wow. That was a merciless destruction once again. I say so.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
agree
mean,
with you there for sure.
kudos to Dubois, and I think this is good for boxing because Joshua has now been there, for a while. He's now gonna be 35 soon, and Dubois needed this more. That's what I'm gonna say anyway. And because he's had some setbacks and the loss to Usyk and Joyce, and if he had lost here, maybe we wouldn't have seen more of him. Who knows? So he's got a lot to offer heavyweight boxing, obviously. And I did kind of see a potential in him, like from 5 6 years ago or something. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
glad he
same here.
finally fulfilled that potential. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's good stuff. I same here, Boz. Yeah, great points there. Real quick, shout out to Skywalker Boxing who dropped by. Appreciate you there. Skywalker became a member. Yeah, I have the member thing open now. You didn't have to come on there, Skywalker, but appreciate you there for sure. Go check out Skywalker Boxing Media on YouTube. Great content over there. You want to give him a follow. And he was just covering the event with Jaime Munguia live here on Friday. So that's one worthy of checking out for sure. He's got some content he's posting there. So that's one we'll talk about as well. Shout out to Jesus. Appreciate you dropping by, Jesus. And make a good point. AJ dropping his hands careless. Yeah, and that's something I was thinking about as well there, Boz, especially in that first round, that knockdown that happened at the end. That was some of the very basic stuff right there where he just essentially stepped back with his hands down in, as Jesus mentioned, a careless manner. And that's stuff that they teach you early on. So he was having a mental lapse, I'm guessing, or wasn't as focused as he put on to be. But yeah, that first knockdown was most definitely avoidable. And that was the game changer, really, because he got caught right on the chin. And from there, his chin was pretty shaky.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's true. And when you get caught like that by Daniel Dubois, that's no joke. That guy can punch, and So that was really bad defense, and it was almost shocking how easy it was to like old bully Joshua and knock him out and down also before that.
Oh, yeah, certainly it was. Shout out to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more in the mix here. Appreciate you there, Bruce. Thanks for dropping by, buddy. He says, salute Josh and Boz. Hey, go give him a subscribe as well. Bruce has some great content over there. And he touches on the history and dives into like the 70s, 80s, 90s. Man, he drops a lot of gems over there and even shows some content. So be sure to check out Bruce Gas. For sure. Also, shout out to Miter Span. Miter Span, good to see you here, buddy. It's been a good while. Miter Span said, Yo, what's good? That fight was crazy. Was scared for AJ. I knew not to look over Dubois, and he absolutely dominated the veteran AJ like it was nothing. Textbook right hand counter for the win. Yes, indeed, there, Miter Span. And that was probably the part that stood out the most, was the fact that, as Miter mentions, Dubois was able to outbox Joshua, hey, we thought we were seeing a sort of changed, more polished version of him based on the Valine and Ngannou fight, even though the Ngannou thing happened really quick. And I think that what we saw was him just in with two better guys, and Dubois, he's shown that he's at that top elite level, regardless of what one thinks of his two losses. He's shown that he's at that elite level, and I think that showed that Joshua, hey, he still had some things that haven't quite been worked out in full detail, despite the fact that he looked good in those last two outings.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that Joshua wasn't really exactly fighting top guys before this, that didn't help either. And as I was thinking, like, even before, when he went into the ring, it was like, hey, like Lennox Lewis is here. I
Yeah.
was like, no, you're just a paper tiger, I think, at this point.
Yeah. Right
Sorry
on,
to,
Bruce. As Bruce mentions there.
yeah. Sorry to be so brutally honest, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, his prime was. You might argue that Ruiz took his prime actually already.
That was certainly what changed him for
Yeah,
the, I guess, worst as far as his chin's concerned. That was definitely a change. That's what changed him. That Ruiz fight.
yeah, and you could also see before. I mean, against Dillian White already, he got caught there. In that fight, if you remember, really good in one round. I don't
Oh
remember
yeah,
which one, but and even though that's no shame, but he did show that he had some defensive weaknesses even then. So
and
yeah,
the issue, of course, is the fact that despite Ruiz being a very solid heavyweight up there with the top tier, he's not a guy who is a guy known for his power to that degree that he was able to stop Anthony Joshua.
yeah, it was more like a speed, combination of that and just a lot of punches, at once, and he was able to land a lot of punches, reason, and yeah. And as many pointed out back then, Joshua looked like he could have continued, but he didn't want to. You know,
Oh
it
yeah,
was a little, like
yeah,
then he started to question his heart, and his mental toughness anyway.
yeah. It was like a
Because
reality check moment for him almost.
yeah, because against Vladimir Klitschko, for instance, he took a lot of punishment there, but still came back. But that was against an older guy who kind of gassed later on, and but he knew this is not one of those people. Ruiz was a young guy and still is kind of. So yeah, you might say he quit there. He could have gone on,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, no, and that is something that stands out, and that's ironic, because that's something that, or a label that was placed upon Daniel Dubois, but I
Yeah,
think Dubois is shaking it off, and he's come back and
yeah,
proved that, man, he's one of those guys that has a bit of resilience to him, and at
definitely.
this point, yeah, there's not a lot time you can knock him for because he's stepping up, he's taking these fights, and he's winning them.
Yeah, I mean, and and I think that's so unfair. Joshua did kind of get some criticism for that Ruiz fight, but like Dubois, the criticism he got for the Joyce loss, oh man, that was really amazing. It was crazy, I thought. So very unfair because he was looking good before that. And also against Usyk, he also had that moment, when he knocked him down. So he never was really destroyed in any of these losses. I mean, well, you can say maybe against Usyk in the end he got, but
Yeah.
he did good, like some rounds anyway. So yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's certainly the case right there. Real quick, yeah, shout out to everyone dropped in. Shout out to my man Gerardo Rodriguez, aka Hot Rod. What's going on, Rod? Been a minute. We got to get on that college football 25. So hit me up. I'm down. Let's get it. But shout out to Just Frank as well. Just Frank in the building. Appreciate you, Just Frank. And he's stepping out, but he's gonna check us out later. And sends his regards, their buys. Say he popped in, show some love. We appreciate you there, Just Frank, as always, for sure. And yeah, some good points made, of course, by by everyone in relation to this. So yeah, Miter speaks on Dubois improving
chat
himself,
is on
which he
fire.
did. Yeah,
The
yeah, he
chat is
did.
on fire today.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is. It is. He did prove himself. Miter says great things take time, can't rush art, and all those similar sayings can be applied to Triple D. And I knew he was good, an up and comer years ago. I was
Yeah,
disappointed in his losses, but they aren't the end all. That's right. A loss doesn't necessarily mean you can't come back and have that redemption. I mean, it happens to the
yeah.
best of them. It happened back in the day. And
So
the one thing that
yeah,
was good that was pointed out, I give Ariel Hawani props. He mentioned that the losses don't quite mean the same as in MMA. People just come back and they continue to fight. We have to move past this in boxing as well. Just because someone loses doesn't mean they're
Mm.
necessarily done, watched, or exposed, or they can't fight or come back. That's just a moment in time right there. And in the fight game, one thing that helps you out is experience, certainly. So even if you do lose, you can come back, gain more experience just fighting, and that can take you to that next level.
Yeah, that says something about you also as a person. If you learn from a loss and use it to build yourself up to become better, and stronger here mentally, it says you are a strong person, of course, and it's a big plus. And as they say, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, and that's how it works, of course. Yeah, sometimes some fighters need a loss, at least one,
Yeah.
to really become great, or better than they were, in some uh, aspects anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, that can be a wake up call for the majority right
yeah,
there. That loss can be a wake up call,
oh
and
yeah,
sometimes it does go the opposite direction where someone can't really bounce back from it, or they're just too dialed into the fact that they've taken a loss, or too infatuated with having a zero next to their record. But that being said, it's not the end all, as it was mentioned
mm,
there, and
yeah,
hey, I give them props. They put on. Jesus mentioned the fans in the UK stadium must be disappointed by AJ performance because they were there. Most were there for him. Oh yes,
yeah.
the majority were most certainly there for AJ.
Well,
Is crazy.
80% probably. Yeah,
Yeah, somewhere in that range for sure. They were, but I think that maybe some, but I think over the overwhelming majority, they probably felt it was a good contest. As Bruce mentioned, it wasn't like Lewis or Hagler Hearns or whatnot. They were saying Hagler Hearns. It was a good fight. It wasn't quite on that level, but that being said, some good back and forth there. Um, and I think that people got what they want to see or what you expect or the things that
yeah.
provide that excitement when you're attending a
That's
heavyweight fight, a blockbuster heavyweight
yeah.
fight. These are the big
That's
guys
the
right
most.
here.
That's the important thing. No matter who won, they got a knockout. They got a really exciting fight, and yeah, from the beginning till the end, didn't last long. That's the only maybe downside for the fans. But
Oh yeah.
you can't have everything always. So yeah,
Yeah, no, most certainly. Again, this is Wembley Stadium, so naturally that leads into that. Pretty much segues us to what happens next there, Boz. So what happens next? And this is something for realistically both of the guys, as far as Joshua in terms of what's next for him, not
yeah,
only
that
just
one.
fight wise, but maybe even career wise as a whole. And then what's next
Mm,
for Dubois? And Jesus mentioned Dubois versus McCauley, which would certainly be exciting
yeah,
right there.
very good fight. I would love to see that one.
And that's ending in a
Definitely, yeah.
knockout as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Both guys are seek and destroy type fighters. So yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, that certainly. Miter mentioned. Yep. Notice how they all rushed out. They were so quiet and salty. They will hopefully give Daniel his respect soon. Can't wait for Dubois, Fury, and Usyk too. Yeah. No, those will be some good
Mm,
ones right there. That potentially can happen for sure. Cheers to
yeah,
Perception. See Perception's music says one thing about Dubois. It did. One thing is Dubois. The one thing Dubois did do the same thing that Andy Ruiz did in a way, because when Ruiz got him hurt, he never let him off the hook. That is true.
yeah.
That is
That's
true.
very important. Yeah, not to let him off, not to get all cautious and you know, but just go at him. Just don't let him off the hook, and that's how you get that knockout. So yeah,
Yeah, that is true. And he stayed on him. As a matter of fact, he continued to apply that pressure. And it looked like
yeah,
he was getting him out of there a bit earlier. So in that, I believe it was the fourth round, maybe, when he had Joshua on the ropes, basically sitting on the
yeah.
ropes nearly, and then going down right there at the end of the round. You would have thought that the fight could have been over then as well.
Yeah, you know what? I just came up with a quote. Like a puncher should never think too much. That's what a boxer should do, like a technician. Yeah,
Oh
think
yeah.
puncher should just use his natural instincts to get the knockout, to get the job done, right? So when they start thinking,
Yeah.
that's when it usually goes down, down the hill.
And
Yeah,
the thing about Joshua, when he does that, he starts to get very mechanical, and that's something that was
yeah,
lobbied on Dubois. But Dubois, he's pretty fast for his size. He moves pretty decently. But Joshua, yeah, when he's sticking in there, he can get a bit mechanical, and then he has those lapses. And I think that's why he was getting caught with his hands down, not having them
yeah,
up, probably just thinking too much. And who knows? Maybe he's thinking about the fact that, okay, can I take a punch coming from Dubois because he's
yeah,
noted for being a strong guy. He's younger,
yeah.
faster, moved a bit better, and if you're
He
thinking about that,
shouldn't
that can affect you.
shouldn't have been going to the ropes all the time. Also, that's a very bad idea. I'd rather stand there and just try to turn it around. Otherwise, what's the point of just running around and getting caught over and over again? And that's not the type of fighter he ever was. He was never a defensive
Right.
fighter, Joshua. So
Right, that is true. So yeah, that didn't play too well. The final boss, cheers to you there. Final boss dropped in, says Dubois, another new English heavyweight. Indeed, there. Hey, you got a big one there in your profile picture. I like that. George Foreman, I believe, putting in that work there against Frazier, basically launching him in the air. The final boss, that is. Jesus mentions AJ was trying to time Dubois' lazy jab and was just missing,
yeah,
didn't capitalize. Certainly, there were opportunities there, and I kept telling myself, my partner and I, we were watching, and we were saying the same thing because she was like, "Why is he not throwing punches? He wasn't throwing enough." That's the thinking part of what's
yeah,
coming back. But he had openings, and Dubois is a guy that can be hit for sure. But and Joshua wasn't able to take advantage of that. So. Um,
mm,
the final boss mentioned Dubois win was good for the next generation of heavyweights. He looked fantastic. Agreed there, final boss. He handled his sting from the opening bell. He also mentions AJ looked scared to get hit from the beginning, unlike Dubois. Yeah, that is the case. And he wasn't throwing. And that's the part that probably will be the frustrating
mm,
thing when he looks back on it, because it's not like there weren't openings there. He just was, I guess, too timid to throw, thinking about, that firepower coming back.
yeah, for sure. I mean, Joshua, once he did land that big punch, it was too late, in the fifth round, and then he foolishly started chasing Dubois. That's also another thing he shouldn't have done. Should have, after landing that, he should have waited for his response, for Dubois, reaction, then not start, but try to get him to come out again, and then try to one another, hit him again, of course, with a
Yeah.
big. But
No,
yeah,
you're right. You're right.
yeah,
And yeah, hindsight is 50-50, of course. But yeah, that was the thing that should have been done. Miter Span mentions people underrated Dubois' chin just because he took a knee a few times. He is smart and was looking out for his health. Disappointing, but his chin has not really been exposed as of yet. He has resilience. Hey, yeah, I agree there. He had a broken orbital bone in that contest with Joe Joyce, and yeah, he took a knee, but hey, he saved his eye, and look what happened. He's a world champion now, and
yeah,
if he would have kept going in that contest, who knows how it would have ended for him.
yeah, for sure. I mean, he was just not in a condition to continue, of course.
So yeah, final boss says, "I love that Dubois came forward and put the pressure on AJ from the start. He looked like Tyson or Foreman in there, not the same style or ability, but the way he didn't wait and was all business. Certainly, all right from the jump right there. He was tapping that chin of Joshua. Joshua
Yeah,
probably wasn't expecting such a quick start from him, but generally Dubois, he does start fairly quick in his contests. From those that I've seen, he's looking to lay hands on you as soon as he gets in there.
yeah,
And Joshua just seemed like he wasn't mentally ready for it to come so soon.
mm,
Then Jesus mentioned AJ gives too much respect by letting them come forward, needs to slow them off their track by more jabs, catch, block, counter, and volume. Hey, great point there, Jesus. Yeah, and that's another thing that we were yelling here. Like, you have to push Dubois back. You have to hurt him to gain his respect. That's how you're going to get him to slow down somewhat. You're going to have to hit him with something that hurts him. And Joshua, he was backing up a bit too much, in my opinion, and not really sitting down on any punches. And
he looked lazy. Put it
yeah,
that way, he looked lazy.
Dubois, he wasn't respecting what was coming back, seemingly, because he was focused in, dialed in, and like, hey, that factors in there.
He fought a perfect fight, except for that little, how to say, in the 5th round, he took a big shot. That wasn't so bad. Maybe he got a little stunned, but
he held on to it. He said he held on for sure.
He had the right answer for that too. So
certainly.
Kudos to his coach. Kudos to his trainer, definitely.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
That's some good work. Good work. They had him prepped for sure for Joshua, and he executed the game plan to a T. Midas Fan says Dubois versus Parker would be cool. I used to want to see Dubois versus Wilder versus AJ, Dubois versus Ruiz, and any between the top heavyweights. But some of these guys have fallen way off, unfortunately. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, Dubois Parker, that is an interesting one. Parker just so happened to be there. He was a part of the broadcast as well. So thinking about what's next there, Boz. We also have in the backdrop, we know Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury 2. That is happening in December. So realistically, we're probably not going to see Dubois take on the winner of that until the middle or late next year, somewhere in that time frame. So the question becomes, does he take a fight here in between, waiting on that contest to materialize? Or if it's already kind of in the works or writing or something with Turkey Al-Ashish or whatnot. So that would be interesting. What do you think of the prospect of him taking on the winner of Usyk Fury and the potential there? Of course, we know he's been in there with Usyk before.
Yeah, but Fury would be very interesting also fight, but also Usyk, because he would want to get revenge if he can, of course. And but also in the meantime, he could fight like for somebody like Bakoli also maybe. But I would actually prefer to see Dubois fight Fury, because they've never fought before, and it's a really interesting challenge for Dubois, that height. Fury. Let's see.
So that likely means Fury comes out on top if that's to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if he can chop down that tree, we'll see. Fury is also arguably, on the down slope, and I mean,
Dubois can hurt him for sure, because Usyk hurt him.
Yeah. So if Usyk could, so Dubois can, of course, also do it. He's also a little taller than Usyk, even though not that much, but it will be a little easier to get to Fury anyway.
Oh yeah. So I think I'm taking Usyk in this next fight, in this rematch, as I did in the first one. But hey, it could be a different type of fight. You never know. And if Fury comes out on top, then that makes me wonder, hey, is a trilogy in store?
Well, yeah, of course it's possible, but Usyk also now, pushing like 37, 38 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he would say yes to a third fight, especially if he lost again, of course. Yeah. I mean, if he won again, not lost, but then there would be no reason to have a third fight, of course.
Oh yeah. So Usyk, he's 37. He'll be 38 in January, so he'll be closer to 38 by the time this fight takes place with him and Fury there. So that is an interesting point. Fury, I think he's 34, 33, 34 at this time or something like that.
No, he's 36 actually. He's born in 88. August.
Oh, okay. So they're both right there, pretty much around the same age then. So you're right.
I don't think they're gonna have many more fights. Definitely not more than a couple, maybe after this. Even I don't know. With Fury, it's possible he even retires. Should he lose a second time? Of course, I think he will retire probably.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on and those in the chat as well? Your thoughts, if you leave a comment. How interested are you in seeing, say, Fury loses, Fury versus Anthony Joshua? sort of a swan song fight. What do you think of that, Bob?
Yeah, maybe that would make sense now that both are no longer prime and stuff like that. Yeah, that would be interesting. Definitely, I would like to see. I wouldn't say no, but it's not a
Yeah.
fight that I really want to see. But I'm like, yeah, why not? Yeah,
Yeah, and that will be an interesting one. I think it was going to be a absolutely huge fight at one point. It likely still will be
yeah. It's a shame.
pretty huge relative to most fights.
A shame it didn't happen in 21. When it was supposed to happen. Really shame.
Yeah,
But yeah, and then Usyk wouldn't get to fight Joshua, so or not yet probably. Anyway, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's funny how it works.
yeah.
Yeah,
The final boss says Fury AJ will be like the heavyweight version of Brook versus Brook versus Khan if Fury loses again, but it would never be as big as it once could have been. Yeah, I kind of leaned in that direction as well. Miter says Fury Joshua's a must and still sells. Got to find out who is better. Yeah, I think
of
it'll do
course.
well relative to the typical heavyweight fights of some of the other names because they are still big names in the sport globally. So I think, yeah, people will show up and watch it. But I do think it will be like maybe sort of like Brooke Khan at the final boss there mentioned, where, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely you're not getting the best of either of them. And the fight has the potential of being decent, or it could end up being, okay, just one of those that was all right, just too far gone.
yeah.
So
I really am now thinking how that would look that fight, how it would play out. I think I would favor Fury to win that fight. Yeah,
hey,
because of
I'm with you there. Miter seems to be in the same boat there.
yeah, yeah, of course. And Fury does have a good chin, even though he was really badly hurt by Usyk. But
And I think that
uh,
Fury would frustrate Joshua as well because he
yeah,
knows the tactics to use to get in his head for sure.
yeah. Did you see what he said now, Fury, about the Usyk fight? He was like, he said like it was going too easy at one point, so then he just, didn't something disturbed him
Baloney.
about it. Yeah, like then he stopped really trying or something like that. Really
Freaking
BS.
baloney.
Yeah, baloney. I mean,
Yeah.
that guy Seagull, oh man, you can see it from the moon, I think.
Right, right. Yeah, come on here. Hey, Usyk did what he needed to do in there. He came on there towards the tail end, had Fury stumbling and bumbling. He can try and tell us that he just stopped trying, but no, we saw what happened there. We saw it with our own eyes.
Yeah.
So we're not taking that BS. Hey, cheers to Alan there. He's got a picture with Dubois. Good afternoon, gents. I will have to rewind and watch from the beginning later. I'm really pleased for Dubois. He proved a lot of people wrong. People were laughing at him in the build-up. That is true. He did do that. He proved a ton of individuals wrong, and I think that ultimately he showed that he is kind of that next guy. He's arrived essentially. So maybe not even
Yeah,
next at this
Joshua.
point. He has
you know,
arrived.
in that the pre-fight interview, face to face, or however they call it, and
Yeah.
Josh was all like, acting like he was dead or something. I'll slap your face. Behave now, behave. Like, and now he paid for that.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, Dubois, man, hey, he showed up and did his thing. Alan mentioned there's still a lot of good fights out there for AJ and Fury. Both look shocked in their reaction to Dubois' demolition job. Yeah, certainly,
yeah.
yeah. It was yeah, it changed the landscape of the game for sure.
It was priceless to see Eddie's face. Like, I
Oh
think
yeah,
after round four, like,
oh yeah. When he was sitting there, dude, they showed that shot. Yeah, it was pretty crazy seeing it
it
because
was
they.
almost like he went, oh
Yeah,
no.
you know what was running through his head? Like, oh, we probably got
Yeah,
another shot at this AJ versus Fury fight. It's going to be a blockbuster, and it's going down the drain once again.
yeah.
And that's
I wouldn't
exactly what
be.
happened.
I wouldn't want to be AJ's neither his fan or his manager or whatever promoter because he's definitely going down. He's damaged goods. So yeah,
Yeah. So certainly, yeah. Miter says on another note, but Coley versus Ortiz would have been interesting back in the day. Certainly, that would have been interesting. I guess Ortiz, he might be officially done at this point.
But
Um,
Coley is just too much for many people, I think, right now in the heavyweight division.
oh yeah,
Definitely.
certainly. See, Perceptions says he wants to see Dubois versus Fury or Dubois versus Usyk. I don't want to see a rematch between Joshua because Joshua wasn't even the champion at the time of the fight. That is
Yeah,
true, and they were throwing out that potential for a
he
rematch.
hasn't.
I don't know if there was a rematch clause. It would seem that there wouldn't have been. But then that being said, I don't know. Or so yeah, they were throwing that out there. Yeah, and I don't know if the outcome changes because
Mm.
I feel that Dubois will be even more confident coming into this next contest, knowing that he can hurt Joshua.
Yeah, that might even last even shorter, like 3 rounds or something. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Joshua
Joe.
also, I might say, is a victim of his own, like confidence and ego and all that.
Yeah.
So obviously, he came into the ring last night expecting to just knock out Dubois, and he didn't see another way, it going any other way. Obviously, he didn't think
Oh
it
yeah.
would happen.
Oh
So
yeah. Certainly. Alan says he met Dubois when he came down to watch his sister at a CBS fight. Of all the boxers I met, Triple D was the most humble and friendly. So was his
yeah,
sister. Oh yeah, I can see that. He always struck me as a nice guy, just genuinely nice individual, man. And
yeah,
especially seeing him early on, is like this young kid who's hey trying to find his lane there in the heavyweight division, which at the time we still had, of course, Joshua, Fury, Wilder. They were pretty much at the top as he started to build up buzz or whatnot. So yeah, and I like Caroline as you mentioned. She's certainly one of my favorites to watch. There, she does
yeah.
her thing for
She
sure.
is.
Uh,
I was just thinking what other few possible matchups there can be. Of course, we got people like Parker and Zhang, and there are always other, of course, people that could that Dubois can
yeah.
fight. Now that he has the world title, everybody will pretty much want. Well, some people and all the top guys will want to fight him definitely.
Yeah, and
So
Parker's on a pretty solid run right now.
yeah, so he beat Zhang, and yeah,
So
that
yeah, that would be a
that's
good one. I want to see Parker do his thing because I feel like he's a better fighter now than first time around with, excuse me, AJ
yeah.
for instance. And I think even a fight with AJ would be different for Parker, where they have fought at this point. So
Yeah, definitely. So any of those fights would also be good to see, or even a rematch with Hergovich, maybe. But that depends on Hergovich. He should have at least one more fight first and show himself that he isn't, like going down
oh
in
yeah,
any.
yeah, he's
So
another name out there certainly.
yeah,
Cheers to Joe mentions you can't put muscle on the chin. Most certainly
that's
not.
true.
There, it's still gonna
Or
be what it is.
even though you can kind of build up your jaw muscles,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what's his name, George Chihuahua, he talked about it. He chewed a lot of gum to build them up.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, if you can't take those shots, then yeah, in the beginning, you're certainly not going to take them well at the end, as they
yeah,
say.
he
Cheers to Max
always.
Duran as well. Max
Hey
Duran, good
Max.
morning, guys. Says, what a fight from yesterday. Indeed, there, Max, a
Mm,
darn good one for sure. We were
yeah,
talking about that, Max. Yeah, it lived up to the billing as far as the excitement that you can expect in a heavyweight contest, a big time heavyweight contest.
and by the way, that referee wasn't he annoying? I mean, he was always
Mhm.
warning all the time to Bois, like
Yeah, he
like
was.
really.
He was running the wild, yeah,
I was
maybe a
like,
little bit
shut
overboard
up.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I'm like,
always
shut the
pretty
F up.
animated in there.
Yeah.
McDonald, I think is his name, but yeah, he's usually pretty animated in there.
Yes.
Final
Pretty
Boss says
weak.
he felt sorry for Dubois when he won and the audience immediately left. I was annoyed by the disrespect from my fellow British fans. I think it happened because 95% of the crowd wanted AJ to win. Yeah, I'm with you there. I thought he would get more
Yeah.
love right there because
That's
certainly, yeah, yeah, the way that thing cleared out, it was like
Yeah, that's the
the favorite team
popularity
lost.
factor. You can't do anything about that. Of course,
Yeah,
Joshua being who he was, and big, strong, good-looking guy. He easily won fans. He was even Olympic champion and stuff like that. So, or was
yeah.
he? Or was he a bronze medalist? I don't
He
know.
he might have gotten. Yeah, he did get a. I think he did medal. I think he got
Yeah.
might have
So
got gold. Let me see here.
that's always big for the Brits because they aren't really guaranteed any medals in boxing in the Olympics. So it's always big when
Yeah, he got
somebody,
gold.
especially a heavyweight, wins or super heavy, whatever
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of the medal.
he won gold. So yeah, he had that kind of backstory and all that stuff.
Right.
Dubois,
So
not a
that's
herald.
the same thing. Like for instance, Ollie Harrison, he won a gold at the Olympics, but he never achieved anything as a pro. But he still kept. He had quite a lot of fans still till the end.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah,
because of
he
the
did. Oh yeah, oddly.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
no,
got
I'm with you
knocked
there.
out like 7 times, or I don't know, 5, 6. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. No, I'm with you. Alan, a good point there. Dubois was loose on the ring walk the way he came out, and AJ looked too tense. Yeah, I agree. And he was probably a bit tight, just heading into it.
Mm.
And he wanted to
Yeah.
show. I think he was trying to show that he was focused and like, hey, I'm this new version of me. I'm not this happy guy. Hey, I'm just focusing dialed in, intent on destroying. And maybe he should have
Street
just been more
style.
looser. Yeah, Dubois was happy. He's like he was happy to be there, and
Oh
not in a
yeah.
way that
What the
okay,
hell?
this isn't something I can't
What?
handle. But it looked like the moment was right for him.
Yeah. What was that cringy stuff with the gangster intro for AJ? I'm like, what the heck? Is this guy a rapper now? What a
It was an
gangster.
act he was putting on there. He was like, "Hey, this is the mindset he's coming in there, mob boss mindset, I guess." And
Yeah.
it didn't work
Super
out for
cringy. That's
him.
super cringy, really. I
hmm
mean, come on, now you start with that. It just doesn't fit in with his whole image or that he had
Yeah,
from before.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a part
Golden
of
boy.
that was a part of the mental plan. But yeah, it didn't phase Dubois whatsoever because he came
Nah,
in like he was the boss. Like he was the
yeah.
top dog for sure.
But
So
he isn't, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Snyder says he should have grown a beard.
Okay, look at this. This is English. Ginger Joe.
Ginger Joe. All right, that was good. That looks good. Robert Brown says AJ is a hype job like Wilder. LOL. Hey, I think he
Well,
ran into some people. I don't know there, Robert. He does have a pretty solid resume. If you look at resumes in the heavyweight division, you could argue, and I think it is the case that Anthony Joshua has the best resume at this point as far as the active guys. Um, and he had some moments. I think back in some years back, I would have liked him. I did think that he would beat Wilder, and he has a pretty solid resume. But yeah, at this point, yeah, both of them are pretty much done. Or maybe that's the fight, swan song fight right there, AJ versus Wilder, and
yeah,
call
I
it a day
mean,
for them.
I was thinking about what his best wins are really for AJ. Don't think of the names like because. But Povetkin, yeah, one of them definitely because he just knocked him out, really, destroyed him. He wasn't yet done as a fighter, Povetkin, even though he was older. But and
Oh yeah,
Parker, I would say. So that's pretty much it. I don't know really who else to add there. So yeah, he's
oh yeah,
got a good resume, but maybe a little overrated, maybe slightly. I think.
oh yeah.
Because he did lose to some of the best guys he faced, and also didn't fight Wilder or Fury yet. So
hmm
yeah, there will always be like a question mark around that,
Yeah.
record. Yeah,
No, yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you right there. So yeah, some great fights that passed by that would have been huge. And I think that at one point, had it happened, of course, I think the two of the biggest fights in boxing would have been Wilder Joshua, and then Joshua Fury. And at one point, I think that the biggest fight in boxing, potentially as far as what it would have been able to do and sell and generate, would have been Wilder Joshua if it would have happened at the right time, especially over in the UK. I think they would have had a lot of come out as well. And then, of course, then Joshua Fury, that would have been just as big, if not bigger, especially domestically at one particular instance. And yeah, we just didn't get to see that version of it. And of course, you know, the rest is going to be history.
But it was obvious Joshua wasn't really, keen on fighting Wilder back then. He could have fought him like, 2018, 19, or, instead he fought Ruiz and then he lost, of course. I think maybe it was meant so that he was going to fight Wilder after Ruiz, but then he lost to him and had to have a rematch. But who knows? Maybe even then he wouldn't have fought Wilder.
Yeah. And I would have favored him at that time with Wilder. And then as time went on, I started to favor Wilder once I saw that Joshua's chin at post Ruiz fight for sure. But prior to the Ruiz fight, I would have favored Joshua for sure, even a little bit after. But then eventually I was like, I'd favor Wilder because I just don't know how Joshua's going to react to the punches. And based on what we've seen, he probably wouldn't have reacted too well.
Joshua would have to be the one to get to Wilder first to beat him, definitely. He wouldn't have taken his punches well at all. No way.
Mm-hmm.
He would get knocked out. KTFO.
But yeah, I agree with you there. Final boss, the boy looked hungry. AJ looked like he made all his money. Yeah, certainly he did. And Alan mentions Moses Itoma is one to look out for. I agree. Hey, he's on a pretty solid trajectory. They were saying they wanted him to be the youngest world heavyweight champion, which will be tough to get to because he's like 19 now, I believe, right?
19, he's got to get a world shot.
That's not happening, I think, because it's going to be log jam between whomever wins this Fury Usyk fight and then them taking on Dubois at some point. So yeah, I don't think it's going to happen certainly not prior to him reaching 20. And yeah, it'll be interesting. It will be an interesting storyline though, but yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get to see that. Also, these other promising British heavyweights like Wardley is fighting Fraser Clark again in October and
rematch. Okay, yeah, I like Wardley. So, okay, I want to see that. It was a good one last time out.
Yeah, we got a possible future opponent in Johnny Fisher also.
Oh yeah, I was thinking him as well there, Boz. So in addition to Moses Itoma, I like Johnny Fisher. I think that Johnny, you can see he's been focused in on the gym. He dropped some weight and all that stuff. He just looks like he's just really shaping up and getting to that point where he's going to be a force right at this particular point in time here within, maybe even in 2025, it might be a year for Fisher to step it up even more. But I like how he's looked as of late for sure.
Yeah, me too, definitely. He looks like he has improved. Definitely, yeah.
And maybe Itoma versus Fisher fight is in store at some point,
Yeah, I can't wait for that. And another name, not from UK, of course, you got to throw out is Agit Kabayel. So, of course.
Kabayel, yeah.
Versus Dubois, let's say, or whatever.
Kabayel, he's not a big name, but man, he is. He's another one that's on a pretty impressive run as of right now, and he's a name that certainly can upset the apple cart for sure. And he's taken out two of the highly touted, I guess you can say, heavyweights that were seemingly next in line to do some major things in Frank Sanchez and Makhmudov. He took both of them out and did it in pretty pretty dominant fashion, you could say, for the most part.
Yep, he
Especially
was.
Magmadov, the way he
Yeah,
handled him.
Sanchez got an injured leg, but and
Yeah, yeah,
it was.
that's true. I thought that Sanchez would win that fight going in, but yeah, he couldn't move quite as well as I
That was
expected him to.
that was a shame. But what can you
That
do?
being
That's
said, yeah, Caballero, he still came in there with the right game plan, and Sanchez, if he couldn't really fight, he shouldn't have. He should have pulled out or whatnot. I understand the dynamic, and of course, this is a big card, and you want to get paid. But yeah, it probably wasn't the best of him. Salute there, Cedar. Appreciate you dropping by, Mrs. Skywalker. There,
hello.
appreciate you for sure. Salute to you. And it's but yeah, it's very interesting. Just thinking about that real quick. Let me see here. Miter fan says, I'm disappointed because every time one big fight is looming on the horizon, these guys lose it and upset. Certainly, we do get that a lot, especially in boxing when they're talking about, oh, we want to wait or this fight's not ready or whatnot. This happens, You didn't see all that waiting sometimes back. And sometimes we get some of the good ones happen early on in their career. But yeah, it's crazy. That new drunken fighter, Ben Whitaker, could move up one day. I hope he's legit, but he's yet to be tested at light heavyweight. I hope he isn't exposed as a hype job. Yeah, he has all the tools, it seems like. But yeah, certainly the competition that will factor in.
That's good. You mentioned light heavyweight because hey, we should talk a little bit about the Boatsy Hutchinson fight.
Oh yes, oh yes, folks. Yeah, we've been talking about Dubois versus Joshua, which of course is a big one. We can talk about that. And Jesus, Norway there by way of Bosnia. He's hit the Boz there. That's Boz holding it down from Norway. So we're in a little bit of time difference, but we make it happen there. But yeah, so yeah, the light heavyweight fight that was on there, was that the co-main? I think it was the co-main.
Hang on, no, it
was Shiraz. Shiraz Denny might have been the co-main, but I thought at first it was going to be.
I thought that was kind of laughable that was co-main event, but anyway, what can you?
yeah, right. Denny did not look good.
Yeah, Shiraz is a big name in UK now, rising star, definitely. So anyway,
Dubois versus Boatsy versus Hutchinson. Yes,
Hutchinson. Yeah, that was it for? Hang on, no, it wasn't for a world title.
I was double checking that myself here. Yeah, I don't think the title was on the line. I think a British title, Commonwealth or something.
It was about that. Yeah, who's the best British light heavyweight? I mean, that was a pretty good fight. I mean, Hutchinson got knocked down twice, but he showed a lot of heart and he got up both times. And in the end, I thought he won the last two rounds, but I scored it 113, 112 for Boatsy because.
Oh wow, you thought it was that close?
Yeah, because in the seventh round, when Hutchinson got deducted a point, which I thought was kind of not very reasonable, he was winning the round. I thought so. It was a 9-9 round, So that's how I thought it was. Otherwise, it would be a bigger difference if it was a Boatsy round. But
I need to watch it again.
Yeah,
because I was in the car at that time because I had to go pick up dog food for a short period. So that fight was on. So I didn't get to see 100% focused version of it. That's interesting getting your perspective on it being close, which it was close on the cards.
It was. I mean, it was. I thought actually Hutchinson won 6 rounds and Boatsy 5, and that one was even because of the deduction, but those 2 knockdowns and all that swung it, of course, in the favor of Boatsy, and that was all right. Hutchinson was kind of technically looked like the better fighter, but he just couldn't really hurt Boatsy, even though he did catch with some really good combinations and stuff. But he's not a really heavy puncher, Hutchinson, while Boatsy is. So, that's how it went. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch, but I'm not sure if that will happen. But I think they will want Boatsy to fight one of the big guys next, and maybe for a world title, maybe whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't think he is really, he doesn't have that great chances to win a world title because once again he was a little too easy to hit also last night, and without that power he would have surely lost the fight. So,
Oh yeah.
but he does have the power and has a really good chin too.
Yeah, he does.
Obviously, yeah, because Hutchinson does have power. It's not like he can't hit, but
He's one of those long, lanky fighters too.
yeah. So that's how he punches, and he's kind of more like a accumulation punch, I would say, probably. Yeah.
No, I'm with you there. I think yeah. So from what I saw, yeah, it looked like Boazzi deserved the victory. As mentioned, I need to watch that again. But I did see Hutchinson having some moments, especially there early on. He did have his moments.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, and I knew Hutchinson was pretty solid just coming into it for what I had seen from him in the past. So I thought it would be a good one. I leaned Boazzi because I like Boazzi. Some people are more down on Boazzi, and yes, we wanted to see. It's like he was on a trajectory, and then it kind of leveled out a little bit, and now it's more so okay. He's still in the picture. Let's see how he continues to capitalize or how he looks here moving forward. And
he's
interesting.
He's already 31, so he can't get any better. I don't think he can. So, one judge actually scored a fight for Hutchinson.
He did.
So, but I thought it was fair that Boazzi won because of those knockdowns and all that.
Yeah,
and even though in the ninth
were difference makers.
I thought Hutchinson was winning the ninth, and then he got dropped. So someone might have scored at a 10-9 round. In that case, it's a draw. So there you go.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that could have certainly happened because it was a majority decision victory for Boazzi. So that stuff does factor in.
Yeah.
I would say. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And I don't know, honestly, how Joshua looks, or Joshua Boazzi, that is.
Yeah,
against the likes of looks against the likes of Bivol or a better Biev. I don't know how he looks. I think certainly they will be the favorites, probably heavy favorites, and maybe he needs another fight against someone else, and one that has been thrown out there, of course, in the past is Anthony Yard, and I don't know what's going on with Yard or whatnot, but that's an interesting one for sure.
That fight should have happened by now. I don't really know why it hasn't.
Let me see. When did Yard last fight? Because it feels like it's been a minute.
Really should.
He did fight this year. He did fight this year in February.
But Eddie Hearn, he's the promoter of Boazzi, so sometimes he can be really cagey and too protective of his fighters. So that's not a good thing, of course. A lawsuit.
Well, that was early on. He moved over to Boxer.
Okay.
I think he moved over to Boxer with Ben Shalom. Alan mentioned.
Yeah, him and Frank Warren, of course. Who hasn't had a legal issue with Frank Warren? That guy.
Oh, yeah? Oh, there's a lawsuit going on. Okay, well, damn. Okay, wow. Interesting. Interesting. Frank Warren. Hey, you wouldn't be able to tell the way Frank's confidence these days. You certainly wouldn't be able to tell. But hey, his fighters have been winning as of late for sure. He's found some pretty solid gems. Hamza Shiraz,
been in the game forever. Yeah.
Hamza Shiraz. He's another fighter who fought on this card and looked impressive against Tyler Denny.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, 2 rounds stoppage. Yeah. Then he will look so small against Shiraz. I think he's probably like 5'9" or something. Shiraz, 6. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ali, mentioned Boazzi. He's with Boxer. He is with Boxer now, and that's who Whitaker's with. I saw your comment, Alan. With Ben Shalom holding Whitaker back. He does need to step up the competition at this point. for sure.
Better
So we
show
can just
him, yeah.
see more of him, and he can develop better. Canelo Shiraz, Alan mentions there. That would be an interesting one right there. And Shiraz, he's at 160 now, but he said he only has maybe, or at least his thought is about four fights left at 4 fights or less, I guess you could say, at 160. And of course, 168 should be no issue for him. You probably feel even better there. So that would be an interesting one right there.
Yeah, always will be a big guy at those weights. I mean, until he hits like, whatever, cruiserweight or something, if he ever does.
Yeah. And that's an interesting one, Alan. I think that I like Canelo's lateral movement, but he'd have a lot to overcome with that nice jab of Shiraz. And Shiraz is a big guy. Shiraz is a big guy, right up there with David Benavidez, except stylistically they're very different. But yeah, that's a good contest, Alan. I like Shiraz. I think he's looked pretty good. I might lean Canelo in that contest, but I think he'll be able to do a bit better with his upper body movement. It maybe get in there and avoid some of those shots that take out a number of the guys. But man, that's a damn good fight right there. I wonder if it's one Canelo would take. Probably not. Shiraz is still building his name, but it's out there. It is out there, and I think he's a excellent fighter who's one to certainly watch here. This being Shiraz, so I would love that fight.
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Miter, I agree. Warren has been dog walking Eddie. Hey, Warren had some fighters on his side. Whitaker has been a shadow of himself since he parted ways with Sugar Hill. He needs to join a good stable, in my opinion. No, I agree with you there, Alan. Yeah, I think the stick is it's fine and good, but hey, I want to see a little bit more. We know that he can do this stuff against a certain level of fighter, but certainly stepping it up a notch, I think Alan would be beneficial for him. He wants to be a showman, which, hey, I'm not against it. I think he can do his thing, but certainly stepping it up, we got to see. Because if you're just continually doing this against competition that you can beat, then what can we say?
Yeah.
Cheers, Rodolfo Rivera Jr. Rivera Jr. in the building. Appreciate you there,
Where
Rodolfo.
have you been? Where have you been?
Well, out in Cali, so he's probably asleep. At this time, it starts early. I don't know. Maybe you're an early bird there, Rodolfo. But yeah, it's we appreciate you dropping by here, Rodolfo. Real quick, I was gonna see Final Boss says I think we're going to see Dubois versus Parker, Zhang, Bacoli, and White Chisora 3 next. Caballel versus Miller or Ruiz would be interesting as well. Yeah, Caballel, Ruiz,
Miller.
I'd like to see that. I think
Caballel would really destroy Miller, I think, at this point.
Yeah, he has a lot better movement. Ruiz.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Guys need to fight somebody that's more like them, slow and not
Ruiz
so good.
Needs to get back into the ring ASAP, probably, because he's really just not fought a lot here as of late. So we understand the situation with Miller, but
those guys that are heavy, I think they can usually take head punches better than body punches, and Cabell is really good at body punching. So that's how it goes.
Oh yeah, yeah, certainly. Yeah, it's early times there. Rodolfo. Yeah, we appreciate you dropping by there, buddy. As always, real quick, Boz. Yeah, this was just such a big card, but I know we talked about this beforehand. We talked about Kakache versus Warrington.
Yeah,
that turned out to be one where it was pretty much all Kakache in, especially towards the back end of the fight. And Warrington, I guess this is his like 4th loss in 5 fights or something of that nature now. Because I know they're mentioning it.
He did lose to Lopez and to.
He beat Chico Martinez here in the midst of it.
Also, Lee Wood, he knocked him out, but he looked good there before the knockout. So that is right. But I did favor Kakashi to win this fight, and he proved me right. And he was really dominant, and he's the longer, bigger man, longer reach and all that. So he just kept Warrington at bay there and landed some big punches, but nothing major happened, otherwise. So yeah, it was a solid fight, nothing special. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was his third loss in 5 fights. Now he drew with I
Yeah,
guess
but
it ended up
like
being a draw or no contest with
I
Lara.
think this was I think this was his fifth loss altogether or something.
Oh, it's his fourth. But you
Fourth,
know that Lara fight where it was they
cut, yeah, the
butted
clash
heads.
of heads. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
was a
this is
shame.
his fourth, but this is his
Yeah.
third in a row in terms of he lost to Luis Alberto Lopez, Lee Wood, and now Kakache. And as we mentioned,
Yeah,
Kakache, man, he's a big 130 pounder. Is that what it is? 130 they're at?
yeah, he
Okay, yeah.
is
So
5'10" and 5'10" and strong. He looks kind of strong and ripped and all that. Yeah,
oh yeah, I did hear that Alan Ruiz broke his hand when he fought Miller.
big baby Jared.
I think I saw a
Gerald.
picture or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
was
yeah,
a pretty, yeah, not a very pretty fight anyway to watch.
oh yeah, certainly not. And then of course Josh Kelly, he beat Ishmael Davis, who was a late replacement,
Ish.
and
Yeah,
and
that
he
was
was
a
going to take
shame.
on Liam Smith.
Yeah, Liam Smith, I think he would have won probably if he had fought, but
Potentially. And Kelly got hurt in the last round, apparently, and he was
yeah.
basically stumbling and bumbling about, but he was able to withstand. Yeah, Josh Kelly, man, he has the look and feel. He has everything that you seemingly want in one of the
He's got the look.
star potential type guys. But man, I don't know. He's sturdy at this point, so I don't think he's going to meet those expectations that were essentially placed upon him when he first started out. Of course, he has the overall look and feel of what you want. Like he looks good in there as far as you want to see kind of what a very athletic, skilled guy looks like in the contest, and he can he can have that kind of flash to him, but still, yeah, I don't know where he fits into the billing as far as world titles, because yeah, he's just interesting. He's in an interesting spot. I don't know what you think of it, but yeah,
I haven't really followed him much, but I've heard of him, of course, but never really followed his career.
He's an Olympian. I can't remember if he medaled or whatnot, but he had a lot of he was highly touted coming out and showed a lot of promise early on. Then of course he got beat by Avanesian in what was his step up fight at that particular point. Yeah, and I think that's probably his biggest fight. Since then, they're trying to build him back up. Liam Smith was going to be kind of that next best opponent that he faced right there. And yeah, so unfortunately we didn't get to see that and how he looked against Liam. But that being said, he's an interesting guy. Salute to Random Acoustic Thoughts. Drop by. Appreciate you there, Random. Says big up, fellas. Be sure to go subscribe to Random Acoustic Thoughts, folks. History talk right there. Appreciate you dropping by, Random, for sure. Alan mentions Kelly seemed to gas out in the last 2 or 3. He has moved up in weight, but doesn't seem to have the punch power. No, I'm with you there, Alan. I'm with you there for sure. I like, man, he just has the look as mentioned, but yeah, you just feel like something might be missing. Final Boss says Josh Kelly is a huge hype job. He would be good in misfits boxing because he just isn't elite. He hasn't improved in the last 6 years. I have watched him quite a few times. I feel you there, the Final Boss. I'm with you. I mean, maybe that's why it still seems like they're slow walking him, even though he's 30 at this point. He's been slow walked. So he's now 16-1-1. But that being said, certainly they slowed him down after the Avanesian fight because Avanesian stopped him. And maybe that kind of just showed that, okay, he doesn't have that ceiling that was expected. And yeah, I don't see him winning the world title for sure. This was 160. And 160 is as open as it can get right now, but I don't see him winning a world title if he goes up against one of the guys who has one of those belts. But, I'd like to see how he looks. Maybe he can prove us wrong in some sense there. But that was one I wanted to mention. The final boss mentions Buatsi is good, but him and Kelly are British hype jobs. People spoke like Kelly and Buatsi were going to be huge stars and world-class fighters, but Itoma and Shiraz are the real deal. Indeed, they're final boss. They are the real deal. Those two you mentioned, Itoma and Shiraz. I like Shiraz for sure. I really like him. And Itoma, I think he had that potential of doing some big things as well in the heavyweight division. And he moves pretty well. And he's not a small guy, so he moves very well overall. Alan mentions, I like watching Kelly. I think he's a slick boxer, but he needs some fights like Liam Smith or Eubank Jr. He should avoid Shiraz. Certainly. Yeah, I think Shiraz, will catch him with some stuff and stop him. And it probably does so early on. And I'd imagine Kelly would be fighting out the back foot for the majority of the fight. But Eubank Jr., that would be an interesting one right there. And maybe that Liam Smith fight happens again or they reschedule it or whatnot. But him or Eubank Jr., I think those would be kind of prove-it fights for him in some sense. We'll see where he really is at this point. So interesting for sure. And then Isaac Chamberlain lost to Padley. Can't remember Padley's name, but I watched that contest. And Chamberlain, or the Mark Chamberlain, I might have said Isaac. But Chamberlain came into the contest, pretty touted himself. And Josh Padley, that's his name. Josh Padley, he didn't back down. He was coming out of nowhere for most, as far as he's not a big name or anything, but he was able to upset the apple cart there, Boz. And I know you didn't catch that, but Turkey's one of his favorite fighters, Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Turkey had mentioned that in the past that Chamberlain was one of his favorite fighters, and he was there. He saw it, but it was a deserved win for Padley because Chamberlain couldn't quite figure him out.
From Yorkshire, Doncaster. Yeah.
Okay. Yorkshire.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a construction worker.
Yeah, I think I've seen him somewhere before. Well, anyway, it was quite a big upset, definitely.
Oh, Zarameta. Mentions Eubank Jr. is going to be fighting on Beterbiev Bivol, the undercard. Interesting. All right. I'm going to have to look that one up. So Eubank Jr., he was there and the fans booed him when they showed him on the screen.
Yeah. I noticed that. Like, what the hell is going on? I would have rather booed at Conor Benn than him.
Oh, yeah. They didn't boo Conor. Maybe because Nigel was there.
Yeah, Nigel was there. The hero. Great.
Angel Diaz, salute to you. Angel Diaz says, let's go to everybody. I hope everyone's doing well.
We are already wrapping it up, so let's go. Doesn't really match.
yeah. We're getting to the end game here. Angel, but appreciate you dropping by there, buddy, for sure. Elements 12-1 upset. They said, interesting. 12-1.
Michael Carbajal, nice.
For Tim and Tim, so that dang got one in my. Okay, that's cool.
Some fire there, yeah, great.
Right there, Skywalker. I saw you did mention something about. Oh yeah, I saw you had an interview with Michael Carbajal. Oh, no, that's good stuff right there. Legend in the game, right there. Great fighter.
Little hands of stone.
Oh yeah, I need to look up more on him. I know of him, but I need to watch some of his stuff for sure. I do. Real quick here, Boz.
Yeah.
Real quick schedule. Looking at the schedule, I got you 2 months heavyweight at 135. Okay, good stuff there, Angel. Appreciated perceptions as well. Y'all have some great perspective. Appreciate you there. Perspectives. But yeah, real quick, Boz, I wanted to mention, and for everyone, we got a few fights coming up, a few cards coming up here this weekend. So on Friday, the top billing is Sandy Ryan versus Michaela Mayer, and there is a title on the line here in the welterweight division that Sandy Ryan has. I think it's going to be a pretty good fight.
Mm.
I'm still kind of torn on who I think will win, to be honest with you, but I might lean slightly in Michaela's favor. This is another opportunity at the title for her, so she's got to come through in this one, and I think she's going to come out gunning.
She is the more like, let's say, proven fighter, more seasoned and all that. And Sandy Ryan, I watched her last fight against Terry Harper. She looked good, but she looks like, offensive fighter, like aggression type boxer. Yeah.
I've seen her bite down and show some metal in one of her previous contests, and she got hurt, but she still kind of battled back, and so it should be interesting. I'm gonna lean slightly in favor of Mayer, slightly.
Yeah, whoever wins, I mean, I hope the right person wins, gets the decision anyway.
Right. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Sandy Ryan won, but I'm leaning slightly Mayer, so I'll say that. Yeah. Then we have Xander Zayas is going to be fighting on probably the co-main there. Xander, he's a prospect, but he's graduating that stage for the most part. He's looked pretty good here as he started to fill out because he turned pro at 17, I believe, and he might be 19 or 20 now. But he is going to be fighting Sosa. I don't know which Sosa this is, because we've seen some Sosas over the years, but Xander, he's 22 now. Damian Sosa, Damian Sosa. I think that's who it is. And Damian Sosa, let me see, been in there with Marquez Val, who was a guy that's on Pro Box, who was being touted. So this should be a good fight for Damian Sosa. Oh yeah, he beat Clay Collard. I remember old Clay. So Zayas, he'll be interesting for sure. I like Zayas. He looks pretty decent and continues to get Bruce Carrington against Tagawa, who upset someone here recently. Yeah. So that should be an interesting one. Milnicki Jr. We're going to have Alicia Baumgartner make her return. She's going to be taking on Delphine Persoon. That's going to be on Brinks TV. So check that out, folks. Brinks TV.
I don't know how old Delphine.
Hey, I thought Delphine.
Yeah,
she's getting up there, I believe. But I thought she beat Katie Taylor in that first contest. In actuality,
first time. Yeah, I thought so too. I remember watching that fight. Yeah, she did definitely deserve that decision.
I thought so as well. And Katie Taylor, she righted the ship. She was clearly the winner in that second one, but that first one, I thought Persoon was giving it to her in some of those moments and deserved that nod. With you.
Wow, she's 39 now, almost 40 in January.
So this is Baumgartner's first fight in a minute, since she beat, I can't remember who the girl was, but so 39. So this might be the last big one for Persoon unless she continues to fight.
Probably.
Depending on what happens, of course.
It's a kind of a safer fight for Alicia, you might say, because of Persoon's age and all that.
Certainly. These are happening. There's some other fights. There are a lot of fights happening on Friday, as a matter of fact. There are a couple of other ones over. So the Zone is going to have Thompson versus Bent. That's the headliner. Then there's going to be a German fight. It's in the United States. These are the light cruiserweights. McCallion and Rozicki. Yeah, I remember those cats. So that's going to be on Saturday. You're going to have Dixon Harper on Saturday. That should be an interesting one. So that's what's coming up there. Real quick as we close things out here, Boz. Certainly, we appreciate everyone dropping by. Let me see here. The final boss mentions Beterbiev versus Bivol is going to be interesting. I just think Bivol won't have the power to keep Beterbiev off for 12 rounds. But I'm also looking forward to Wardley versus Clark rematch on the card. Oh, that's going to be on that card. That's pretty solid card then, for sure. I need to look at the entirety of the card.
12th October looks really good,
So not too far from now. So we're not too far off from it. So, okay, cool. Appreciate that,
Yes.
Final Boss. I lean Bivol. I think Bivol is going to
Yeah,
rise to
me
the
too.
occasion.
Yeah,
And
me
if you
too. But
see him,
we'll see.
better be he's big and solid, but Bivol measures up to him size wise, certainly height wise. Bivol, of course, a bit
Yeah,
more solid. But that being said, I think Bivol is going to handle better BF, give him some trouble him, and I'm gonna say via
yeah.
stoppage as well. Maybe in the
Mm.
later rounds. I think that Bivol is going to show what he's made of and what he's capable of, and that he's the best 175 pounder out there. And we'll see if I'm right. We'll see for sure.
Well,
But
we'll see.
Alan, yeah, appreciate you there, Alan. Yes, thanks for another great show. Thank you all. Hey, we appreciate everyone who dropped by and spent some time with us. As mentioned, it's a new look Boxing Chit. Josh and Boz will be coming at this time here moving forward, which is 11 a.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Norwegian time, and probably similar to such in the UK over there in general. Don't know exactly. But that being
Mm.
said, man, we appreciate everyone who has dropped by. Yeah, and I agree with you there, Final Boss. Great point you mentioned there. Thank you, Final Boss, for dropping by. Thanks, everyone. So we'll see you next Sunday. And until then, hey, enjoy your weekend for sure. The rest
Yeah.
of it, at least. Thanks all.
Have a good time.